Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. For last episode, we finished off the return of the departed soul, having revealed the court deciphered killed Odie Asman as part of Enoch Drebber's failed attempt on his enemy's life, with the coroner having been blackmailed into helping due to a state secret regarding a serial killer known as the Professor. With the Professor's identity now revealed to us as Kazuma Asogi's father, with our old friend also alive and well with memory restored, we now start our 4th episode and wonder what will happen next. And so we begin episode 4, Twisted Karma and His Last Bow.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Eight days after that earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. And so on November 1st, what's happening next? Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got her in time. Susato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew that he was actually the mass murderer, the Professor? You mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then about Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. Ah, there she is! Oh, Father! Hello, Susato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh no, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has. I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man, and why do I feel as though I've seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap? What? Here we go then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, guilty. Ah! Oh! You're... The court will now hear The trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency! Hello, Judge Jigoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Good, you remember now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? What are you talking about, Yujin? Of course, Judge Jigoku. You must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Sorry, ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on the study tour. Guilty as charged. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that something came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days of sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris? We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Yujin. You are close friends with the Professor of Forensic Science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No. There's been a lot of water under the bridge since then. It doesn't bring him back. Kazuma's father, I suppose. The Professor. The killer who took the lives of 5 members of British aristocracy. Was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Genshin? You knew, I presume, Father? Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. But what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, I've decided. I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh? What? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma's since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us! So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. As you know, we both thought Kazuma died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say? I never dared even to dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. Oh, I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes. It's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? So, your time in Britain, guys? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Yujin here, Genshin Asogi and myself. We were the original three. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Not more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then, of course, in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing, and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Susanna-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo, I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I thoroughly let her down. Sorry, what do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly, it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes, Susato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable that befits a grown man, or than befits. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. One other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course, what can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Miss Susato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags, sure, whatever. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Yes, of course. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Mikotoba was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Shall I examine around the place first of all? After all, it's not very often you get to be in a high-class hotel. Look at those cases just left there on that trolley. Aren't they worried about thieves? I know I am. Haven't you seen the porter over there? Don't worry. He's obviously keeping an eye on everything. So it's a trap designed to catch any chances who might be tempted. The porter isn't familiar at all, of course. Why did the porter give me such a scathing look just now, do you suppose? Well, some might say you look a little suspicious with your jet black clothes. Not everyone clad in black is some sort of ninja with intent to steal, you know. But what if I am? Big old chandelier. You seen all those sparkling jewels up there? They must have gathered every gem in the world for that. It's called a chandelier, I believe. It's designed to provide elegant lighting in large spacious rooms like this. So they had to gather every gem in the world just to illuminate one room. It's probably electric light bulbs that are actually throwing the light. If I try to hang something like that from the ceiling in the office, it would be scraping on the floor. I think perhaps chandeliers aren't for you, Mr. Naruhodo. That desk is known as the hotel reception. Anyone wanting to spend the night has to report there to sign in for their stay. So do you think that's the head clerk behind the desk there? Yes, I'm sure it must be. I'd love to stay in a grand hotel like this for a little while, wouldn't you? Just to know what it's like? If the hotel fee was paid through our stipend, I'm afraid it might bankrupt our homeland. True, London gives the word expensive a whole new meaning. Is there really anything else to check? Doesn't look it. We've done a little bit of examination. There's a tea set, a lovely painting of the Eiffel Tower. Or the Crystal Tower. Look, at that. It's a picture of the Crystal Tower. Yeah, I got it at the end when I looked at the top. Well, the Great Exhibition is one of Britain's most prestigious achievements in recent years. I wonder how tall it is. It really does represent the pinnacle of scientific achievement in so many ways. There's a 20-meter tall chimney on the bathhouse near my lodgings at UMay University. The attendant there is always boasting it's the tallest object in the neighborhood. I'm sure. Did you know that over the channel in Paris, there's a tower that's 300 meters tall? What? How many tons taller than the chimney at UMay Soaking Hot Springs is that? And if it's that tall, how does it draw properly? The smoke would get stuck, surely. I don't think it's that sort of tower, Miss Naruhodo. It is not indeed. Right, onwards. To where? You said to go back home, so there's not many locations. Lord Chief Justice Officers show us a suite in the Naruhodo Legal Consultancy. Start at the top then, I guess? So, what should we do? It's good news that Professor Mikotoba arrived safely, isn't it? Yes, it's wonderful. And the fact that Father had been invited to this important international event really makes me very proud to be his daughter. Your father, Judge Jigoku, us, and Kazuma, of course. There's an ever-increasing number of Japanese here in Britain's capital, isn't there? Well, yes, I suppose so. But London does have a population of 6 million people, so I think we're still a minority. Suzuto-san's father came here as a visiting student 16 years ago, and Kazuma. It's almost as if some great power has been at work, drawing them here across the ocean to London. And I feel as though the waters are starting to swell again now. That's all we can do here, is it? Guess we can examine our stuff as normal. Steam is rising gently from the kettle, as always. Yes, it doesn't feel right somehow, unless it is. But the steam has an unusual scent today. Perhaps the sweet potatoes that I brought back from Japan with me already. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, I heard that, you know. Tears of joy, Miss Suzuto, from my mouth. I guess there's not really much else going on here. They did clean up in 8 days by the look of it. The spade is still here, look. Please, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, as I think you well know. It's a shovel. It didn't take long to reignite that old argument. Yeah, basically we just clicked there to argue. Ah, I have an idea. Let's give the implement a name, like Professor Hairbrain named his tools. Oh, I never thought of doing that. From now on then, let's call it Ryunosuke. No. It's clearly much more of a Suzuto. The old argument has taken a new and unexpected turn, it seems. Let's go in your room. I love that. The room across the hall is undisturbed, of course. I don't suppose I'd be permitted to see inside now that you're back, though, would I? You know very well that only Iris is allowed inside. Yes, I heard you two giggling together in there again last night. You can visit Mr. Sholmes in his room, Mr. Naruhodo. Last time I did that, he tried to convince me to drink some strange concoction he'd mixed up. Nom nom nom. Oh, look, it's all neat here now. My desk is just as it was before I left. Sumi ain't got a calligraphy brush, even though we're in England now. That strikes me as typically you, Miss Suzuto, and typically not you at the same time. Well, I do enjoy all the wonderful new things to come out of the West in the Cultural Revolution, of course. But I'm not ready to give up my brush just yet. And anyway, Suzuto-san can write more neatly with a brush than most people can with a pen. Practice makes perfect, as they say. Well, let's head downstairs, I think. Begin our tea. Because we still have to have a reckoning with Sholmes at some point, surely. What was that? A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think... Could it be Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. Wee! I don't do it anymore. Mon ami, mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Right, you two, you're coming with me now. Down to the clink. No, I'm not in prison. It is dark and damp and I don't like it. Both the darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared. But you're always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist. I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish this down the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Guinea. Have fun. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Iris. Thanks, you great detective. Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Bruno. Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Yes, of course. Dr. John H. Wilson. So, Iris, all that remains now is that greatest of problems known to man. Whoa! But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? Don't worry, Suzuto, it's his rebellious phase. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Whatever is going on here today? In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. He randomly looks younger for having red hair. Examine. Oh, hair. Why wouldn't you let me examine your hair? Why don't we check out what's on the board this time? It's exactly the same thing, but it's a different thing. Probably. This blackboard is where Iris scribbles down her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look. Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say. What? The little figures can speak. All your questions would be answered if only you would read this month's Rants magazine. So I'm the only one who can't make any sense of this. It's code, is it? What's with the hair? Oh, look at the contents of this. The lie you told. Let's first of all inquire as to the two visitors. Mr. Sholmes, who were the two gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals, nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions. When the mood takes you? All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sight on Sherlock, or Mr. Herlock Sholmes, oh, I nearly said it wrong way round, don't come get me, the estate, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my, you were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes. But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally. Should have asked Gregsy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party. I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is constantly in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Aha, I have it! A bungler. That's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads had been up to no good. I wonder what the men did. Well, we can ask about the greatest problem as well. What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? How shall I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere, possibly. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopies to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes? Why, is it not obvious, my dear madame? The problem of rent. But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tuspel's only the other day? Sure, a large sum. One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you. Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it. Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least. And what was the answer? Why, there's a substantial clue before your very eyes. Don't tell me. Let me see. Humans are solid creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There is one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo. Thanks for the hints. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on much longer. Well, I have no clue what it is. I have no clue what it is at all. However, I wish to get to the lie you told, but we will get to that next time on The Great Ace Attorney to Resolve, where our 4th episode is now underway. Where will it take us? What will happen? Who will we be defending? Will there be a murder? And more. Maybe we'll find out next time. I'll see you guys then for more. Bye-bye.